John and I just went down to the courthouse to see Luigi.
Yeah.
And we didn't see him. He was like already in the building. Johnny was too late. But Johnny dressed up like him.
You did?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I bought
He bought the jacket.
the jacket.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I've heard some stories, so I just feel like it makes a lot of sense that guy got shot.
The CEO.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, welcome back. Welcome to the podcast. It is the week before Christmas, and we're all in lazy mode.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have an interview that we taped maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
That
you mean this isn't all about me?
Well, the beginning of the show is. Why? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know, but I thought I didn't know I was just like the filler. I thought it was like
You're the intro.
I'm the guest.
You're the beginning. You're the beginning of the show. And then we're going to transition to another segment. Another segment.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm trying to change the medium of podcasting.
Oh wow, you're so revolutionary.
I'm just trying to just mix it up a little
Yeah.
bit. Do some
Did you tell your audience how you used to be obsessed with the Revolutionary War and asked your dad to drive you to reenactment?
the Civil War.
Oh, civil.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, but what are you getting at here?
That like you just I was going like you've always been like revolutionary, but that was the wrong war.
That was the wrong war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cared more about the Civil War?
I was more into the Civil War.
Why?
Yeah. I kind of liked the story. I liked the generals. I liked the characters. I kind of liked the Confederate Army. I didn't like what they stood for, but I liked who they were as guys.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's almost like imagine the U.S. government invaded Brooklyn.
Right.
And so all the guys in Brooklyn were like, well, we're American, but we're also from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And the war was about like, even though the war was about to like, are you allowed to hop on Chinese people and ride them like donkeys? That's what the war was about. You would feel a loyalty. You would feel more. It's like the guys who feel more of a loyalty to Brooklyn than to America. So it's almost like me and all the Brooklyn guys are going to get together and fight the U.S. government, even though it's over something objectively bad.
Objectively bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when you
like
start,
their outfits
but there's
better?
What's that? They were a little more loose. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess I didn't realize this, but when they would like amputate people's legs, they would just do it with a saw. They didn't have like any power saws or anything.
Yeah.
For some reason, I remember watching Gone with the Wind, and I remember thinking they were like revving up a power saw to cut a guy's leg off.
Oh.
But I think it was just a.
Yeah. Oh.
And you know who else is getting amputations? Little children over in Gaza. Some multiple limbs, and it's not good. I do want to say I am very happy to announce that yesterday I donated $265
Nice
to the Middle Eastern Children's Alliance.
Great.
That's a charity that was suggested by one of our listeners. We want to say thanks.
Yes.
And if you want to give the Middle Eastern Children's Alliance, hopefully it's a good organization.
Yeah, well, that was referred to us. I think so. Miss Rachel also posted.
Miss Rachel posted, and the last time she posted, everybody
got a lot of hate. They were like, "You're done.
People were upset.
You're finished." But she's not finished.
They said, "You are terrorist. You are terrorist piece of shit. Fuck you, Miss Rachel." Yeah.
So I do like Miss Rachel, and people ask me this all the time since I am a speech pathologist. I like her. I just wish she was on Netflix or something else, because YouTube is the worst thing on our planet. One of them.
Yeah.
It's up there.
Welcome to Deb Rant, everybody.
It's a problem. And I understand she probably wants to be accessible to people. So
it is a little bit off topic, but
I don't care.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's global distribution.
Yeah.
So she gets to help or entertain or whatever kids all over the world.
Right. And that's great. So she can stay there. But for those people who have Netflix, they should be able to put her on Netflix so that their child is not then like going to see a video of somebody running over toys.
Welcome to
Or-
Dev Talk. The Target at Union Square doesn't have enough pillowcases. I
Shut
just
up.
want to say.
They don't even have pillowcases
I just
there.
want
Have
to
you
say
ever been
really
in there?
quickly.
No, I just think, like YouTube is a gateway drug. So I don't recommend kids watching Miss Rachel to parents just because I'm like, once they can use that remote, then you're in for it because there's
Yeah,
a
you
lot
think
of
she'd have her
crap.
own platform now or something.
But she wants to be accessible to everyone, which I understand.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but God, I hate YouTube.
Well, I was thinking that this episode could have a couple different themes, right? One of those themes is violence.
Yeah.
We live in a very violent world. We live in a violent world where little children are become multiple amputees. We live in a violent world where people die because they can't afford health care. We live in a world where sometimes every 20 or 30 years, 20 years, someone murders a CEO or something.
Why?
A little bit of
What CEO got murdered 20 years ago?
I don't know. Wasn't there who's Rib Kid?
Rib Kid?
Yeah, isn't there a kid? He was eating ribs and he killed a coal executive or something.
I've never heard of
Yeah,
Rib Kid.
I don't know.
Rib Kid. I'll Google it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting, though.
Mikey didn't do his homework. This episode. And we live in a world where animals are slaughtered for our food and our clothes and sometimes our amusement. You know?
Yeah.
And so
But I mean, I also think that it's not great. I don't know. I can't look up Rib Kid. It's not great, but like, so in terms of evolution and how things have progressed over time, like, civilizations did use like animal skin in order to preserve life and maintain warmth and create tools and stuff. And they did, survive and evolve because they hunted and cooked meat. And other animals are violent towards each other.
Yeah.
So, like, while the world
But if
is
we have the
violent, I just
power-
feel like you get into these, like, niche little obsessions. And it's like, Mike, I need you to remember you love salami. If I buy salami, we are then 86 salami very quickly. So, like, while you love to go on these, like,
I'm pretty
wholesome
sure
rants,
I went grocery shopping on Monday and it's now Thursday and I did finish the salami last night. So we did have a pack of salami. It's not like just let the record show. I'm not eating a pack of salami in a day. We had one little Trader Joe's pack of salami for over 2 days.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. That's like
So
that
you
is like the
love
best
meat.
That is the
And
best thing to
if
snack on.
Whenever Mike
I
goes
don't love-
vegan, I'm
yeah.
sure like on whatever vegan episode you had, Mike probably had a segment where he was like, yeah, my family, we go vegan every once in a while. We have like vegan week. And we do. But every time Mike eats meals like that, he's like, I'm still hungry. And you're like never happy.
But when you can get full from it, you feel nice. You
Yeah.
feel nice. And from what I understand is that vegan food doesn't have any cholesterol. Steve Harvey said he got his cholesterol down to a 0.
Great.
You know my credit card is on the table right now. by
It's
the way.
not in the camera. I checked.
Okay.
Why, you think that your audience would be stealing from you? Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a book that's like Eat Right for Your Blood Type. And there are just some blood types that benefit more from diets that contain meat. And also, everybody that I know who is pregnant or was pregnant and they were vegan, they, you have issues with iron deficiency.
Can't you just
and
take that as a vitamin?
You do
though?
get prescribed, but like the supplement is not good as the thing.
What do you mean?
Like, it's better to have an orange than it is to take vitamin C.
Right.
Yeah, like you get the nutrients from the thing it comes from. You get
But
B12.
if you can get the thing without killing something innocent, then isn't that the better way to go?
But how do you know you're not killing something innocent by, the plastic container that it came in, or the, fields of agriculture that got pesticide treatments through, like the people
we
who
actually did answer this in the interview.
Oh yeah.
And actually, so
and is this a neutral party in
grain
terms
is
of
grown. Well, you'll see. You'll have to stay tuned. You'll have to stay tuned for the rest of the show. But grain is actually grown to feed animals. So soy is grown to feed animals. So it's not really a valid argument.
What do you mean grain is grown to feed animals?
What do you think? How do you think they feed How do you think they feed livestock? What do you think they feed livestock?
Well, for the most part, I think they are actually largely consuming corn, which is not an ideal diet. It's just something that can be mass produced. I've seen Food Inc. Okay? I've seen the documentary.
I don't know why you're coming in here hot with this attitude.
Well, I just think you kind of get these ideas in your head, like these moral ideas in your head, and that changes, you're yeah, everyone's violent and meat eaters, and I'm just settle down.
Yeah, but I think it's a big theme. We live in a violent world, but the violence is hidden. So you have to confront the violence.
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about healthcare, whether we're talking about Gaza or or animals. But here's what I want to share. Just before we get into anything else, because there's people are so, there's some people who are so shocked. I mean, most people are pretty much on the same page about this CEO killing.
Yeah, I haven't met a single soul who's sad that guy's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's get him. I have a friend who designed this T-shirt. Her son was born with a rare form of muscular dystrophy, and she is constantly posting. The company is called PlaySpark. Please support them. She's constantly posting about the hurdles she has to go through to get life-sustaining equipment and nutrients for this. Not nothing unnecessary.
Yeah.
That she is denied after filling out tons of paperwork. That she is told that your son is not sick yet, so we can't give you a preventative vest to oscillate his chest so that he doesn't get a respiratory infection because he's not sick yet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a lot of these individuals with muscular dystrophy pass away within the first decade of life.
And did you know the United States is the only country without universal health care? I think I read that I Googled that. ChatGPT said it. We're the only country that doesn't have a universal system.
And people will be yeah.
So if you're sick in Somalia, you get to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't know. Bernie always says developed or wealthy nation. I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah,
I feel like he would say.
Yeah, but
in the world.
But if you break your arm in Somalia, do you have to go through your health insurer? I don't know.
I don't know why you're picking such a unknown
Somalia is the worst country.
But the thing is that I'm
just saying a country that's where it's not good.
I have friends who are from Turkey.
Yemen's the poorest country in the world, right?
Right. I don't know. But Turkey.
But you know what they're rich in? Dignity, morals, and integrity. Shout out to our boys in Yemen.
Right. So Turkey has universal health care.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is not you don't need to apply for health insurance or whatever to get care.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have money and if you pay, you can get anything done right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting to me because lots of my very Republican family would be like, well, do you want to be on wait lists and do you prefer to be not getting to choose your provider and blah, blah, blah. But that's not the case because there could be universal. And then you can also I pay $800 a month for health insurance and I'm not going enough to meet a deductible. So I'm always going to have to pay because there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
I don't go to enough doctors to meet a deductible, so I'm always going to owe money to health insurance even though I pay $800 a month.
Right.
So you could just keep paying if you were in a country that
had a public option.
Those stupid Republicans think they know it all.
I know.
Yeah. But I don't know.
We went to see Luigi this afternoon, and there were like all these cops standing around. And I said to Johnny, I was like, these people, like, I don't know what kind of person does this job, but they're just like, every cop looks so unhealthy. Like if you saw them outside the courthouse, outside of their uniform.
Maybe it's the donuts.
Like, yeah, but some of them are like skinny, like they look like school shooters.
They look mentally unhealthy.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, who has sex with them besides Deb's whole family? Anyway.
But to be a cop, you need an associate's degree, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I think it's like 40 college credits.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to go to the police academy in Whitestone.
Mm-hmm. And you have to have a maximum IQ. There's like an IQ cap.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess I missed that detail. But, yeah, I don't know. It seems like you have to run a mile.
Mm-hmm.
That seems tough.
This is from 2000, but the court okayed barring high IQs for cops.
Nice.
What does that mean? Like barring? Like you can't have it?
You're too,
Oh my gosh, I thought
smart
he
to be on
made
the
that
force.
up.
But that's 4 years ago. So.
Oh my God.
All right, so I just want to read this real quick. This is from The Guardian, and this is an article from, 2024 years ago. But it says, Susan Finley returned to her job at a Walmart retail store in Grand Junction, Colorado, after having to call in sick because she was recovering from pneumonia. The day she returned, the 53-year-old received her 10-year associate award and was simultaneously laid off, according to her family. She had taken off one day before what is permitted by Walmart's attendance policy. After losing her job in May 2016, Finley also lost her health insurance coverage and struggled to find a new job. 3 months later, Finley was found dead in her apartment after avoiding going to see a doctor for flu-like symptoms. My grandparents went to check on her, and they couldn't get into her apartment, her son Cameron Finley told The Guardian. They got the landlord to open it up, went in, and found she had passed away. It came as a complete surprise to everybody. It just came out of nowhere. She was barely scraping by and trying not to get evicted. She gets what appears to her as a basic cold or flu, didn't go to the doctor, and risked spending money she didn't have. Also, every time you go to the doctor, every time I'm sick, people go, you should go to the doctor. And then you go to the doctor, and the doctor does nothing.
Yeah, they're like, it's a virus. It's got to run its course. Take some Tylenol if you're in pain. Drink a lot of fluids.
Right.
Yeah.
I went yesterday, and that's
Yeah.
basically what happened. I mean, she was very nice and everything, and it was not a thanks Medicare, a little $25 copay. Medicaid.
Yeah, I got my.
Oh yeah, Medicare's for old people,
Yeah.
and I am not old, despite many of your comments.
Right, Mike's pretty young.
Yeah.
How old are you? 37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asked about Finley losing her job, Walmart declined to comment, saying personal files from 2016 had been moved off-site. And then here's another story. Anna Maria Markle of Port Murray, New Jersey, was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer in 2017. A clerk for nearly 20 years at the same firm, her family says her employer laid her off after the diagnosis with 1 year severance and health insurance coverage. When the insurance coverage ended, Markle struggled to pay for coverage through COBRA, a health insurance program for employees who lose their job or have a reduction in work hours. Additional expenses, co-pays, an out-of-pocket upfront fee for a medical service, and medical debt not covered by insurance. Laura Valderrama, Markle's daughter, said it wasn't financially sustainable to keep paying COBRA out of pocket. On top of the premiums, you still have to pay the bills. We kept getting lots of bills for surgeries, chemotherapy, and all these treatments. All these bills kept coming in. Markle decided to stop receiving medical treatment due to the rising cost and debt, and died in September 2018 at the age of 52. My mom was constantly doing the math of treatment costs while she was on the decline, Valderrama said. I really miss my mom. She shouldn't have had to make the decision to stop her treatment based on financial costs. So it's like you have cancer and you're like, this is getting kind of pricey.
Right. Well, the food and drug industry is killing us all.
Right. And right. And you only got it because you had too many sandwiches from Panera Bread.
I don't think it's just meat, though. That's a problem. Like, a lot of beans, they come in aluminum cans, and that can be toxic. So it's not just like you're going to, it's not
I think
just
you're
like,
just, yeah.
No, I'm not just. I think framing anything
coming in
as
hot.
this
You're
is
coming in hot.
because I can't stand because it already feels so difficult to make the right choices of what you can eat and wear. Like, do you know that the majority of our clothes are made out of synthetic fibers that contain the majority of plastic? So if you were in a house fire and you got burnt, your clothes would get melted to your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So you would just sustain tremendous burns as a result of your clothing. In addition to that, they're all treated with toxic chemicals when they're dyed, when they're, I'm just
talking about not killing animals, though.
So I'm just saying, like, every day I'm confronted on the internet with all of these things that are in our world that are poisoning us. So it's just like, no, just not eating animal products is not the solution because even bread is bad for you at this point because all of the grains in the country are just over-treated and pulverized to
but
turn
it's a good place to start.
I don't agree.
Well, yeah, if you worry about every single thing that you're presented with, I mean, what's the number one killer? Stress.
Well, I'm not stressed about it. That's why I'm like not gonna be. I mean, I'm fighting Mike with it, but like if I'm gonna
you
want
guys,
to eat a
I think
steak,
both you
Not to-
guys,
not to gang
both
up.
you guys think, both you guys think that I
You care too much.
I can't not eat
Yes.
salami. Both you guys think I can't not eat salami.
if we had a bet of like who in this room can go the longest without eating salami, you're losing.
You think? I'll take that bet. Well, once I start doing something, it's easy for me to keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a contest.
Okay.
All right, just salami or just like hams and cold cuts in general?
Cold
Because
cuts.
Christmas is Christmas is next week, you guys.
Oh, he wants to have some meat. This violent man wants to have some meat on his Christmas. How about cold cuts?
We'll start in May.
All I'm saying is like, so, and actually I was reading another article and there was some line in the article that was like, more Americans die from heart disease even more than murder. It was like the person writing the article was surprised that more Americans have heart attacks than get murdered. Because Americans love to have heart attacks and get murdered.
Right. So, I read a research study that two factors that might be more important than the health factors of the composition of what you're eating. Like, for instance, if something is very fried or high in cholesterol or high in sugar, essentially all of these things that are bad that kill you, right? So something that is more important that could actually counteract the poor issue with whatever it is that you're consuming are two things. It's how you eat and how you feel while you're eating. And the reason is, so how you eat first. If you eat quickly, you're causing yourself a tremendous amount of health issues because one, if you're choosing, the first line of digestion is the saliva within your mouth that breaks down that food, preparing it for digestion. And also the size of the food being swallowed. So if you're not chewing enough, then you're not preparing your body to adequately digest that food. If you are swallowing food quickly, then your body can't register fullness, which causes bloat and then fatigue and all of these other health issues. If you have stinky farts, that means that the food inside you has turned rancid, probably because you eat too much and too fast.
As opposed to what, though? Good smelling farts?
That it would mean that you had smaller pieces easily digested that were actually digested and consumed with the stomach acids, as opposed to chunks of food that were rapidly entering your body and not able to become fully digested from the mouth first.
So you're saying if you fart and nothing smells, that's like a good sign?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And then the other thing is that there was a research study done where it was a study on cholesterol, and there were lab rats that were force-fed just high cholesterol, like something like injected into their mouths. So 2 different lab people were doing this, and the one person who was like really rough with the rats and like shoving the high cholesterol food in their mouth had rats that showed poor health and death. And then the other technician was actually really kind to the rats and like pet them and then fed them. And those ended up being healthy rats. So
maybe you should start treating me like the good technician treats the rats.
maybe you should clean
Maybe
up.
that's why I'm overweight, because you're not nice to me the way a technician is to her rats.
Yeah, well, that one specifically, because not all of them are. But yeah, like, so if you are, if you're depressed or in a bad mood, you should not eat. Because you're not going to digest.
Maybe you should
that food
pretend I'm a
correctly.
rat and pet me every once in a while.
And if you're eating with somebody you don't like or who makes you uncomfortable, or if you have parents that you hate or something, like that could be a reason why you have digestive issues or health issues, because you shouldn't eat with people who put you in a bad mood, because you will have a poorer time digesting that, which makes sense because of like fight or flight.
Yeah.
When you're in fight or flight, your blood flow is going to your heart and lungs to preserve your life, and digestion stops. So yeah, that's a big part of feeding therapy too. So yeah, it's a lot to think about.
Right.
It's not just about what you're eating.
I always forget you're a feeding therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Mike always forgets that I actually know things.
No, I know that you know things. We just know different things.
Yeah, we know different things for sure.
You know about feeding, and I know
just
about...
remember one day you were like, do you remember back in 2000, I don't know, 7 or 8, where there was this gay couple from Germany that they met online, and one like fried up the other one's penis and he ate it, and then
we actually talked about that on the show.
And then I was just like,
thanks for bringing that up.
No, because I was in college in 2007 or 8 or whatever year that was, and I was learning about things. But
apparently I was learning too
by the internet.
Apparently I was also
that's
learning,
the kind
Johnny.
of stuff that you know.
Why is that not a valid thing to study?
It's a great thing to study.
You're studying cooking. You're studying the human psyche. You're
That was something that
relationships.
was
There's so many
huge...
lessons. There's a lot of lessons in that story.
I don't want to correct you, Deb, but they weren't a couple. They met on Craigslist.
They met on Craigslist.
Right.
They
I'm
weren't a
sorry.
couple.
I recall because it was like, was
like,
it
will
a
you
forum?
please
where you
cut off my penis?
They're
and
like,
eat
so
it?"
you ate your boyfriend's penis? Like, whoa. I don't really like labels.
And then
We're not committed.
I've only known him for a couple days. Yeah. Huh?
Did that guy get arrested?
I don't know. I mean, why? What can you arrest
died.
for that?
The one died with the no penis left.
Yeah, and I guess he said it wasn't like he didn't love it.
He wasn't. Yeah.
He ate
That
it.
sucks.
He ate it and he was like, it was not what I expected.
Well, I think like
Because white people don't be seasoning their penis.
because wait, we talked about this on the sit down because I remember you made me watch something after.
Did I?
This was all a light bulb moment
Are
for
you
me in
sure?
my life and
Yeah.
relationship.
Okay, so I've talked about this on many different podcasts.
So I think that the guy
what a
thought
hack.
it would have stayed whole like a sausage
Yeah.
because he was quite upset that it like
Fell
got
apart.
deflated as he was trying to cook it, I think. Which it's like only blood flow that does that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he thought that.
Now, it's almost like if someone's eating your penis and they don't really like it, are you disappointed like it's a pie that you made? And you're like,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, yeah, I'd be like, well, you didn't have to chop it off and do that then.
Yeah.
But he wanted his penis chopped off. He answered that
Yeah.
question. I think he didn't think he would die, though.
Yeah. Look, all I want to say is this. I don't like violence.
You don't?
And I think that... And
What are your top 3 favorite television shows?
Well, I stopped watching The Penguin because it was too violent.
No, I'm saying, what do you
Why
like?
are you trying to do like a weird gotcha with me? I have a point I'm trying to make. Why are you trying
Just
to...
just answer.
What?
Just,
Okay,
I'm
my
just
favorite
curious because I
television
want to
shows?
know about
Righteous
you.
Gemstones, The Simpsons, and
Touched by an Angel.
Touched by an Angel. Yeah.
yeah.
So miss
Not
me with it.
Breaking Bad and The Sopranos and what's that one? You always see the celebrities in Brooklyn who were on that show about drugs in Chicago.
The Wire.
Yeah. So you don't love Breaking Bad, Sopranos, and The Wire the most?
Yeah, they're good shows, but they're not like...
They're not
they're
no
not just
Simpsons.
violent. My favorite shows are Family Guy.
No, it's not. You don't even like
I love
Family Guy
Family Guy.
that much. No way.
My favorite shows are Family Guy. What What else? Summer Heights High.
I would say maybe you love King of Queens, Simpsons, and then every show
King
that
of
I
Queens,
said.
Simpsons, and
you don't even like
I'll go Sopranos.
Righteous Gemstones anymore because you are disappointed every time you watch a new episode.
Sure. Well, it's hard to keep up a good show. Anyway, all I'm saying is I don't want to be. You hear these stories all the time because Americans love getting murdered and getting heart disease. Mm-hmm. So you hear all these stories.
Well, living long is not desirable either.
My grandma's 99.
I know.
The little money would be
Mike's
nice.
family lives long.
Yeah.
Mine, they go out fast.
Right.
They live fast, die fast. It's actually
your grandma.
My grandma, she could have
didn't really
died
die
faster.
fast.
That was
she could have died a little faster.
Oh my gosh! Just because I love my grandma and I miss her every day, but watching somebody die sucks.
If you're a smoker,
stop.
Cut it out.
God
it's
damn.
going to be bad.
Bad at the end. It's bad.
I tell all my friends who are smokers.
I know you told me that Ian. You were like,
Ian doesn't like when. Yeah.
Deb's grandma died, and he's like, really?
Yeah.
Did she dead because she smoked? That's what he said to Mike.
No, he didn't say it like that. He just said, "Oh yeah."
No, you did say. Well, you said it was like more like.
No, he just said, "Oh yeah," like he just he gets defensive.
But
you still gotta make sure you email or message Ian right now and let him know to put the cigarettes down. Anyway,
Ian,
I just don't want to be one of those. I don't want to be one of those dads that just like has a heart attack one day.
Right. And I think like salami is more problematic than an organic steak.
Yeah, but you're still killing something either way.
I don't think that we as humans are meant to be vegans.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's see. We're going to be right back with more show, and I will keep you guys updated on this. And you know what? Challenge accepted, Deborah.
Wait. What is I need to know, what is the criteria?
I'm going to be vegan starting January 14th. Probably March 14th because the winter can be very tough.
Oh, no, you need to stop eating cold cuts now. Like you just had a pepperoni pizza.
That's not a cold cut. That's hot on a piece of pizza.
I think pepperoni counts, even though it's cold. Okay, so I think processed meats such as pepperoni, salami, ham, turkey.
Fine.
Anything that you can get at a deli counter sliced.
No, after January
I think
2nd,
starting tomorrow.
I'm gonna go completely. Okay, I'll cut out cold cuts starting tomorrow, sure. And then after January, I'm going to go completely vegan. But we have
Mike Recine never has a sandwich again.
There's plenty of other sandwiches I can make. But anyway, we got more show coming up because you got to get out of here, right? You're late.
Okay.
You're late to pick up our son. So, we got more show. Stick around. Okay, hello everybody. My next guest on the show is she's the owner of a vegan travel company and content creator. Please welcome Anna McKitrick to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I've been following your content for a while. I want to start off by saying that my wife made last Sunday. She made a ziti.
Oh, we made
like
ziti last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jinx.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So she made the ziti, and so when my wife my wife doesn't cook very often.
Okay.
So I'm like, let me stay out of her way, and let me let her do the ziti. And the ziti was very good. And I ate a lot of it.
Okay.
But I woke up the next morning and I had this like persistent kind of chest pain.
Okay.
And I said, this isn't good.
Oh.
And I said, I got to change something. I got to change something in my life, And I think that I just have this nagging feeling that I'm eating too many animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that valid?
Yeah, I think so. I had a similar thing. As soon as I decided, I had watched a documentary and I decided I wanted to go vegan. And since then I was I didn't necessarily decide I was going to make the change over.
Do you remember the documentary?
Yeah, I watched Cowspiracy, but I was vegetarian before that.
Okay.
But I did eat a good amount of cheese and eggs. And every time since then I would just eat it and I just felt gross. And then I would eat vegan things, I just felt a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like it, like a nice avocado toast for breakfast, or like a
plant forward, cauliflower,
a lentil soup for
good
dinner.
lentil soup. Yeah.
What kind of vegan stuff do you like, Johnny? Sour Patch Kids. Oreos are vegan.
Oreos are vegan. Nice ramen. Love vegan ramen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At a restaurant or just from home?
Both.
Yeah.
There's a new vegan ramen spot in Dumbo now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just like you go like, this is bad karma or something.
Yeah, I think it's both. Like, I definitely felt like a mental load of it, of just like, oh, this is just like not something that's aligned with my values. This is not something aligned with like, not just like the animals, but just like the industries I want to support, the companies I want to support. So it was both for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Environmentally, health-wise, ethically. All together, yeah.
Because I've definitely gone through phases in my adult life. Actually, I think it was maybe 2020 or 2021. No, I think it was 2020.
Okay.
Beyond Meat went public.
Yes.
And then I said, okay, let's get in at the ground floor. When Joe Biden got sworn in, that stock like went up a lot.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is great. This is going to make me rich. There was another company that I think I invested in a couple like plant-based protein companies.
Yeah.
There was like a baby food company that I invested in.
Okay.
Because I was getting into like, it was the pandemic, so there wasn't really much to do besides like, you like day trade, buy crypto, buy Bitcoin. And I thought to myself, I said, like things change very radically and very rapidly. So, because like Blackfish came out, that documentary about SeaWorld.
Yeah.
And then didn't it destroy SeaWorld?
I guess they're still open though. I don't know how people are still going there. Even like, I watched it. I'd never been to SeaWorld, but seeing it now, I'm like, how are you guys enjoying this? Like, this looks awful. Like, this is so terrible. Like, why would you guys pay to watch like a giant fish swim around in a pool and like do tricks? Like, that sounds terrible. And even now, like, I've made some content about how, it's unethical to visit certain types of like sanctuaries and certain types of animal tourism and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, well, like, how do we ethically view like how am I supposed to like see a tiger then? And I'm like, maybe you're not. Maybe like you weren't meant to see a tiger if you live in San Francisco. Like, maybe that's not, your birthright or whatever.
That's funny that people think that way. Like, they're like, what am I?
How am I supposed to ride an elephant then?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you just don't.
I have to go to a petting zoo.
I have to go to a petting zoo.
Yeah.
I have to ride every animal. I have to pet every animal. Like, I have to touch a tiger or ride an elephant. I'm like, but you don't. Some things are just avoidable.
Right. Would you go to a petting zoo?
No.
You wouldn't. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about ethically. It depends. It depends on a couple of different things, like animals and everything. Like I think I just generally think, because people ask a lot of questions about like wool and things like that, but and I think in their mind they're thinking like, can we do this ethically? Whereas in my mind, I'm like, if the animal is the product, like, is it ever going to be of benefit to the animal? Like, if you are selling this animal as a product in some way, shape, or form, whether it's like to pet it, to hang out with it, for the wool, whatever it is, like, is that like the animal's best interests are never going to be at heart in those scenarios,
Unless there's a scenario where the animal could be like compensated.
Yes, but
like paid royalties.
And paid royalties, could get like a SAG card, could take acting classes, but to date, sadly, not yet. But yeah, I'm just really upset that investing in Beyond Meat didn't make me rich. I mean, it's like the stock is way down right now. I invested in another company called Tattooed Chef, but I got out because I ordered some of their stuff. I don't know if you ever had any of their. No, I haven't.
They had these like vegan bowls and stuff that they would send.
Yeah.
They were frozen.
Okay.
They would send them to you, but I ate one of them and I said,
no.
I said to my wife, we got to get out of this. We got to get out of this company. we got to get off this sinking ship. This
Yeah.
is crapola.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got out of there. Luckily, they're bankrupt now.
Yeah.
You Google their stock price. It's like 0, 0, 0.
I think it's tough because there's like more vegan businesses now. It's not as much of like and vegans have more options now. Like we have the option to go to a restaurant and say, this is not good. I'm not going to come back here, as opposed to like, this is the only restaurant that we have, you know?
Okay. So you don't have like a, because you know how sometimes when I see like an Italian basketball player,
Yeah.
I'll be like, I have to support him. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's, like, one of my, you know.
No, I don't feel that way. I feel, if anything, offended because I'm like, you're misrepresenting us to the non-vegans. And like, I want to go with my non-vegan friends and like, you made this terrible food. And like, I sometimes also just don't understand it because I'm like, you got this far to have a restaurant and like, the food is not good. And a lot of them, they don't really care.
Why isn't they don't care? Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
And that's why you see so many vegan restaurants that I feel like that they start serving meat again or whatever, and they say like, oh, we couldn't make. They always do the same thing. They always do this whole spiel of like, we couldn't make it as a vegan restaurant because the vegans don't support us, so now we have to have meat again. And then they always close 3 months later. The meat eaters don't support them either, and then they never do a thing about that. Right. And then the food was
nobody likes a turncoat.
No.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I guess it wasn't the vegans. Like, I guess it was. And you know, it's really expensive to have a restaurant. I wouldn't want to have one. That's crazy.
It looks like
you
a
know,
nightmare.
it looks terrible, but. The food is never, and also I'm like, you never really were like, I think, enough immersed in the vegan community or cared enough about vegan food to have a restaurant survive if you started serving meat when like profits were low. And like, then why would the vegans support you at that point? Or even why would people be interested in your still probably primarily vegan menu if your vegan food wasn't good enough to have non-vegans eat there? Like on my trips, I've had trips that are over 50% non-vegan, like people.
Oh, okay.
Like the non-vegans want to eat
give it a
vegan
shot.
food.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other people that maybe don't eat certain types of meat for religious reasons, or they like are vegetarian, or they just have an allergy that would like probably prefer to eat at a vegan restaurant.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like maybe sometimes the food isn't very good.
Right. I have to admit, it's rare that I think about vegan food and I my mouth starts watering.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense or anything.
No, like it's valid
Yeah.
because people like some of them don't know how to cook.
Sure.
Really, like it's bad.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. I think it's because
The tattooed chef stuff, I'm telling you, it was bad.
it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some.
I said, thank God that we ordered some of this so I could sell my stocks. Yeah. But I mean, like, I always thought Beyond Meat was pretty good. I always thought Impossible Burger was pretty good. When Dunkin' Donuts carried the Beyond Meat breakfast sandwich, I would always get it just to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a marketing problem.
Okay.
Too. That's another thing. Like they
I
don't have
agree.
TikTok. They don't have Instagram. They don't like care. A lot of them really weren't prepared to. I worked in restaurants for a very long time. A lot of people who have a restaurant were not prepared to have a restaurant, and in a lot of different ways.
And are they like quitters?
I don't know that they're quitters. It's hard to say somebody quits if they're like losing $10,000 a month. Like sometimes you have to let it go. But I don't think that they were like prepared in terms of like what type of service they wanted to offer. A lot of them are pretty unclear about their demographic. Like I worked even in quite a few restaurants that they had like, you know, they didn't really invest in, they wanted like a really high quality of service, but they didn't really invest a lot into training, like wine training. They didn't invest a lot into like service training. They didn't pay their servers to be learning that amount of wines every week or anything like that. So I think it's a lot of different. I also think like people say vegans restaurants are closing. A lot of restaurants are closing.
Sure.
You know, a lot of non-vegan restaurants are closing. It's just expensive to have a restaurant. Like people are, I don't know what they're doing, but
Yeah. I was in Trader Joe's the other day and like, they changed the packaging on the Impossible Burger. First of all, do you eat that stuff?
I do. I wouldn't say as frequently though. Like I'll have maybe an Impossible Burger once a month, maybe twice a month, depending. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I went through a phase. I was eating the Beyond sausage and the Just Egg, which was like pretty good. I feel like you do need to. Your taste buds kind of need to get used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have a heart attack when I'm like 45.
That's valid.
You know.
Yeah.
In front of my.
I think you do have to eat vegetables as well, for sure.
Okay. Like my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta eat your veggies.
You sound like my wife. Yeah. But it was interesting because I looked at the Impossible package and I'm like, they literally just changed the color. It's red now.
Yeah.
It's not green anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's everything. Like the meat industry seems to have a lot of stuff behind it, a lot of influencers. They have Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, what is the why? Like, what do you see? How could the PR be better?
I think it needs to be more accessible, I think, is the main thing. I think a lot of I don't know, because I think a lot of people you can see a lot of like really negative things about veganism, but I also partially think that means that it is getting more popular. Like you used to not really hear anything about veganism like at all. And I think a lot of even like the more carnivore stuff is kind of just like a natural like kind of pendulum swing to like a huge sort of leap in like vegan food becoming more popular, becoming like, I even went vegan like 7-8 years ago. I never would have pictured it being at like Dunkin' Donuts, like all these major companies being as accessible as it is, even people being interested in going on vegan group trips. Like I just never thought that. Even 2 years ago when I started, people were like, I don't know that that's a good idea. I don't think there's enough vegans. Mm-hmm. So I do think there is. I think in order to get like kind of more people to go vegan, it does just need to be like easier. And I do think a lot of places that serve vegan food need to stop like shying away from the fact that it's vegan. I feel like a lot of times they'll do like this big dance of like, we're like a plant-forward centric restaurant. Like we don't really call ourselves vegan. Mm-hmm. Even like there's a restaurant in now they serve meat again. It used to be vegetarian restaurant, but they were like, they wouldn't say the word vegan. If you wanted like they had like dairy-based cheeses. If you wanted like vegan cheese, you'd be like, oh, can I get vegan cheese? They'd be like, yeah, you can have the dairy-free cheese. Like other like vegan restaurants, like I think they shy away from it a lot. And I'm like, why are you people aren't going to come to this if you're embarrassed by your own concept.
Sure.
Like we're very like and I've always been like, for my group trips and everything, we're very like, we are vegan. Like those are our values. We're vegan. We're 100% vegan. All the food served on the trip is vegan. You are more than welcome to come if you're not vegan, but like that's what it is. And the trips sell out really quickly. Like it worked really well. And like they always sell out. The last trip sold out in like 30 minutes. And we have a lot of non-vegans that want to go. Like I think people do kind of have to stop being like embarrassed by it. Like I feel like we're all kind of like dancing around it. But I do feel like it has made like a huge leap in the past like decade for sure. Like far, far more than anything before. I feel like when I went vegetarian, like it was like non-existent. Yeah. Yeah.
So I should hold this stock is what you're saying.
Maybe. I don't know though, because I do see it becoming a lot more saturated. I think that's the other thing is that people see like they focus on like just a couple different companies. Like I don't know if Beyond or Impossible or everything will make it, because I'm just like, oh, you know, there's going to be a lot more. You know, I'm
getting notes from my producer on where to hold the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I holding it okay? Okay.
Yeah. I guess like, do you wish it was more popular?
I guess I do, but the issue is, transparently, I'm like kind of in like a little vegan cult. Like all my friends are vegan. Like a lot of people most people I know or to hang out with are vegan. Okay. So I feel like it is more popular because I don't know, like that's just like the world that I live in. But of course I wish it was more popular. But
it's good that you found that community.
Yeah. I think it is really important to have vegan friends. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people, and we get a lot of people on my group trips that they don't have any vegan friends. Mm-hmm. That's really hard. And I think that's a big reason, like a lot of people will go back, is that they don't feel like, that they feel like very isolated. They don't feel like they have anything to like.
You have to eat Thanksgiving dinner outside.
Yeah, you have to eat Thanksgiving dinner outside. You get yelled at. Or like you feel like, especially travel is a big thing, like you're very like you're like inconveniencing your friends. Like your friends are in Paris, they don't want to go to the vegan restaurant in Paris, so you sit there. Like it's just not fun. So I do think it's very important to have vegan friends.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do when that happens? You just keep like crackers in your bag.
You just cry. Like it's just I don't know. Yeah. You just go with them and eat. French fries are the ally to vegans everywhere for sure.
Okay.
Falafel, you know.
Falafel's, yeah. That's one of the things where I go, I'll have one falafel sandwich and then I'll go, all right, we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this. Yeah.
I want to ask you about, so I think it was years ago, I saw this video and this guy was like, here's the most humane, it was going around, it was maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. But this guy was like, here's the most humane way to kill a turkey. And he still had to like hang the turkey upside down. Yeah. And the thing was going like, you know?
I shouldn't be laughing.
It was like, but it was sad. You're like, oh, this is a bummer. And because you forget how, you forget how bad things want to live.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, instinct.
Yeah. And then you also see videos of like, bears when they eat they eat like deer alive and stuff like that. If there's any bears listening, why don't you cut that out? Why don't you chill out a little bit? Why don't you try to be a little more humane?
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like, you're like, oh, you forget that it's hard to kill. So then how do they kill that many turkeys?
It's a lot of turkeys.
And it's like, because I would think the easiest way is just to go in with like a machine gun or something, but
that's kind of what they do. It's not a machine gun, but they hang them up very, very quickly. And a lot of people get injured. The slaughterhouse workers a lot of them get injured in the process. It's a very dangerous job.
Yeah.
They hang them up and they basically go through this like machine that like cuts all their heads off like one by one. It's very brutal. Slaughterhouses are not fun. There's a reason we go apple picking and not slaughterhouse. Today, a little day at the slaughterhouse.
That would be really fun to bring your family.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that though, just to convince my family to go. Go vegan. I'm like, actually, this is not an apple farm; it's a turkey farm.
It's a turkey farm.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is people always tell me they're like, oh, you've just never seen like a humane farm. But like most of my family is German. They live in like rural farm town Germany, and like that's mainly what convinced me to go vegan. Is I'm like, this is still, I don't like this either.
I think in Food Inc. There's a thing at the end where this guy is like cutting chickens' throats and he's doing it kind of quickly.
Yeah.
But still, it's very. But I guess what I'm getting at, and then you posted a video recently where you said that there was something where turkeys were being sexually assaulted.
Yes.
Turkey's got it bad. Turkey's got
it bad. They really did not have a good year.
Because imagine your next life, you come back as a bird.
Yeah.
Like, and you knowing you'd come back as a bird, and you're like, oh, what am I going to be? Like a hawk or a robin or something? And you're like,
and like, I don't know where it came from either. Like, why turkeys? Like, we don't really eat turkeys a lot other times of year. It's just
deli meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm out of it. I've been out of the meat eating game for a long time. I don't know what people are eating now.
No, but it's because like it seems like chickens are the perfect.
Yeah, people like the chickens. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the best.
Yeah.
But then people have chickens and they love them.
I had chickens.
You did.
That was what convinced me to go vegetarian.
Interesting.
Is my dad would kind of joke about making them into soup because that's what some people, potentially my German family, do. And then I was like, oh no, like that's the same chickens as like other chicken. I don't like this. I stopped eating chicken. I went vegetarian.
Yeah.
My dad was like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah. Yeah. I just get this weird feeling when I'm in the grocery store sometimes because you walk around and you go, wow, everything's so neatly packaged and there's like messaging on the packages that says like, these pigs, we celebrate their birthdays.
Yeah. They're like, have like a model cow on like the farm, little family.
Or you go to a barbecue restaurant and there's a cartoon pig wearing sunglasses like going like this. Like he would never do that.
He would never do that.
If you told them what was going on in there.
That would be against, if they had their SAG cards, that would be against the SAG regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you posted a video recently about how I guess man, it stinks to be a turkey. But you said they were being essayed?
Yes.
Okay.
That did come out a while ago. That was from years
okay.
ago, in all fairness.
Oh, okay.
The butterball turkeys. There was like a thing where men were sexually assaulting the turkeys in the factory farms. Yeah.
Yeah. Just imagine sitting down to Thanksgiving and you're like, did you do something differently with this turkey? Honey, it's really good this year.
Really great
and
this year.
You're just eating another man's cum.
Yeah.
Yuck. Not for me. Miss me with it.
Miss me with that.
But then you made a point where you were like, well, all animals are sexually assaulted because like a cow is
Yeah.
And then it's like, so once you start getting into it, you realize, you go like, oh yeah, they only make milk when they can have a baby.
Yes.
And they got to take the baby. I'm sure you know all this stuff. I'm not trying to remind you of. I don't want to like. I want this to be like a fun interview.
Yeah.
I don't want to. We'll move on.
Yeah. But it was like a fair point. Like I kept seeing people get so mad about this turkey thing. It was like all over my For You page. I'm like, you guys are the ones like paying for them to be there. You're gonna kill them at the end of the day. Like you're not this turkey's savior. Like this is still bad. Like they're all bred. Like breeding 30 million or however many turkeys we eat every single year is still unethical. Like it's still, they don't have like bodily autonomy in any way, shape, or form whatsoever.
Right. And then I saw you do another video one time and you said, you said, what do you think happens when a cow can't produce milk anymore?
Yeah.
Or a chicken can't produce eggs? They're not just like, go live your best life.
Yeah. And that's what it comes in with like, even like the petting zoos and these things like that, where like we think of the animals as the products, and even things like wool, where you think of it in terms of like the wool, well, technically if a sheep needs to be sheared, why not, use the wool? First of all, the sheep doesn't need to like exist to begin with, but also then like we have to think about the before and after, like when the animal is the product, what other types of things are happening to maximize profits. With sheep, a lot of times it's like breeding so that they have more wool, which is oftentimes like really uncomfortable. It's also like when they don't produce the same amount of wool, like they're likely going to be killed or shipped off somewhere else. Like there are other things that go into it besides like this one moment of like the cow needs to be milked. Like we have to think about like what happens before and what happens after. What happens before is likely unethical breeding that is going to maximize the profit of this animal, and what happens after is likely the animal's going to be killed because they're no longer profitable.
It's interesting because you don't think about that, and it's like that's a I guess a farther ahead line of thinking, because I don't even think about the cows being sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
I think about the baby. I thought they want to have the sperm inside.
No, they don't just like go like, oh, this little go into the bedroom, like see you later.
Right. No. So they don't like being inseminated.
No, it's not an enjoyable process. They do even call it like,
but that's like level 5 of the animal cruelty like knowledge playbook.
Yes,
right? Of like
the level 5 vegan and everything like that. They do call it a rape rack because they like kind of tie them down in this thing when they like artificially inseminate them. It's not an enjoyable process. Because
I feel like if there was a protest where you had a bunch of animal rights people together, and then somebody was like, "Stop killing pigs," and somebody was like, "Yeah, and stop killing the chickens too," and then you were like, "And cows get raped," they'd be like, "You're an extremist."
Yeah, they would call me crazy.
Yeah,
they do. People aren't ready to hear it sometimes. People, they're not ready for it, I think.
And then does that ever bug you when people call you crazy? Does that
I've calmed down over the years.
Yeah.
I get it, because I wasn't always vegan. And there's a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah.
That to other people is like really common knowledge. So less now. Even as far as 2 years ago, I think I would get really, really annoyed. But then I'm like, it's just not helpful. Yeah. And so people a lot of times are asking, like, even if they say like, oh, that's not true or whatever, like, if they're engaging in any way, unless it's pretty clear that the person's, motive for engaging is to agitate you or whatever, is to like make fun of you, that can be the case sometimes. But 75% of the time, let's say maybe 80, if they're like trying to engage, they are probably curious in some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think, I would imagine that most people are bothered by it. Like deep down they are kind of bothered by it, or they know deep down that it's not right. You know, and I think I don't want to. It's like this is like delicate territory, but I tried to do this bit a long time ago where I was like, people say that vegans are annoying, but there had to be like during slavery time, there had to be people who were against slavery
for sure,
and people thought they were annoying.
Yeah. I think also like there's always, I try to remind people at the end of the day, like veganism at its core is like a peaceful movement. Like like the goal is less harm to animals. Like whether or not you think, like even if you're against factory farming, but like not fully wanting to be vegan, like you agree with certain things, and or even like this is like a lot more, but like a lot of people bring up, for example, like Native Americans. They say like, oh, well, Native Americans have this way of like slaughtering. Like, would you tell Native Americans to be vegan and things like that? And I'm like, no, but at the same time, like factory farming hurts indigenous communities. Like it takes a massive amount of land. Like it displaces Native people. It's like often built in communities of color that are going to affect them both like health wise, community wise. They're not completely like unrelated issues. And so they are, I would say, related in a lot of different ways. I don't think it's like fair to, you know, compare them, but I also think sometimes that can be kind of like a one or the other thinking, where like everything, people have the capacity to care about multiple social justice issues at the same time.
For sure.
And there definitely is like, I believe, like quite a bit of overlap in a lot of different social justice issues, especially veganism, because I do feel like, I mean, factory farming does hurt a lot of marginalized communities. A lot of the Amazon rainforest is like being cut down for more room for cattle farming, water usage, land usage, and
because I think anytime you're confronted with the violence, it makes it pretty obvious that you should, and that's why we rarely see any of the violence. But I've seen stuff, and it's rare that I do see it, but I do see stuff that's like horrifying. And if that was more, I'm sure there has to be a lot of effort to keep that, you know.
It's considered like you can
wraps.
get charged with terrorism for filming the inside of a slaughterhouse.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of animal rights activists get like terrorist charges. You can Google it.
Yeah. Right, because if that footage was more prevalent and people were more aware of it, I'd be rich right now because my Beyond Meat stock would be
all the way up.
You know, so it's just a bummer. I think I did make the right decision, but just the world is bad.
Yeah, I think it'll slowly get better.
Yeah, because it's such a ubiquitous thing that people, you know, participate in. We all participate in. But I guess the one thing I would imagine a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction when you tell them that they're vegan is that like if they did it, they wouldn't get enough protein and they'd be tired all the time.
I hear a lot of people, like especially guys, this is always like the biggest ick. Sometimes just the way that they say it. Like sometimes guys would like hit on me and be like, oh, like I tried to be vegan, I want to be vegan, but like I just couldn't do it. Like I just like cheese too much. I'm like, you're a grown, like you have self-control. Like that's an ick.
Okay. You heard that, guys.
Grown man.
Yeah.
Like if you don't
have some discipline.
Have some discipline. Like what do you mean? Like you wanted to do something and then a piece of cheese got in the way of your highest self. Like you know.
Yeah.
Like you have values and you wanted to live by those values, but then you saw a piece of bacon and that moment was like more important.
But do you consider it a rewarding? You consider a rewarding life.
Yes.
And you feel better about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people call you crazy when you have a strong moral compass.
Yeah, they
but
do.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
But I guess it's like it's different because we gotta. I don't know. It's hard to. We've just been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's also hard because like even within the vegan community, like my approach has always just been like focus on Like, I'm just vegan and I'm just going to be vegan. Like, I can't do much more than that. And then any work I'm going to do is more just to make it as easy as possible for people to be vegan. So, like, hosting vegan group trips, making informational content. There's a lot of people, and, like, I have a lot of friends. They're a lot more on the activist side of things. And, like, I personally just can't get too much into it because, like, I won't want to be vegan anymore because it, like, will just make me sad. And, like, I think that's a big thing. Like, that's the reason a lot of people don't go vegan is even when I see people that are vegan and then they become, like, really big animal rights activists in, like, the first year, I'm like, they're going to burn out because this is too depressing. Like, this is not a sustainable lifestyle. You're going to start to, like, hate your family and friends and think they're, like, bad people for eating meat. And, like, you are just not going to have a good time. Yeah. And I don't like to be sad. Like, I just like to be in a good mood. So I'm just like, it has to be something that's sustainable in that way for me.
So you got to do it at your own pace.
You got to do it at your own pace. You got to, like, I don't know. I feel like it can be like a big shock, especially when you watch all the footage. Then you're like, why doesn't everybody else do it? I think it's important to find vegan friends. I think it's important to find vegan friends.
Okay. And I'm sure you can get 200 grams of protein.
Yes,
plant protein.
You can for sure. I think
your top sources.
I mean, a protein shake is always a good idea. Sure. Zhou, ZHOU, their protein is really high in protein. I think it's like 45 grams of protein in like one protein shake.
Okay,
that's a good one. I think a lot of times I like tofu. Like, people are soy haters. Like, I like tofu's good.
Now, what do you say when, like, Ted Nugent goes on Joe Rogan and says, if you want to grow soy, you have to kill all the squirrels?
But people say that, and I'm like, I need people. This is the thing, right? The majority of soy, I think like 90% of soy is animal feed. Like, we're not growing soy for all the vegans. Like, yes, like soy
is animal feed. Okay.
Soy is animal feed.
Yeah.
Like, the majority of the soy that we're growing is for animal feed. Like, cows eat a lot more soy and corn than vegans. Like, if we talk about like, oh, we cut down all this farmland and we kill all these insects for plant production, like, we would cut plant production by a significant percentage if we eliminated meat production. Like, the vegans are not eating all, like, we don't really eat that much tofu like that.
Okay.
It's mainly animal feed.
That's good because you do want to be ready with these arguments.
I've been vegan long enough. Okay. Yeah.
Are there any other ones that people should know about?
That's the big one that, like, oh, you're not doing anything because the insects die. That's the main one. And you're not going to get enough protein. But at this point, it's been 15 years and I'm alive and well. Yeah. You're like, make sure you get your vitals checked. And I'm like, I actually have been to the doctor between the ages of 14 and 30, gotten it checked. Like, it's all good, you know?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I can still be jacked if I do it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm, but I am a big, you do need enough.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's
But I'm
important.
sure you've answered that question a million times.
Yeah, but it's important to be eating enough calories. Like, I think a lot of people, they just don't eat enough calories. Like, they'll be really particular about their, like, meat diet, like, even like,
because I do think that's the first thing people think when you say vegan. They go, hungry all the time, not enough protein.
Yeah. No, you got to eat enough. That's important. Okay. You got to eat enough. You got to eat enough protein. You can't get lazy with it and just eat like chips all the time.
Sure.
You got to, it's going to take a transition period.
Because Steve Harvey said he went vegan and he got his cholesterol down to 0.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that where all the cholesterol? Doesn't all cholesterol come from?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I got to get my heart checked. Can you remind me to get my heart checked out? I've just, every once in a while, I get these chest pains and I go, what's that about?
I guess today the day.
Yeah. Not is today the day, but I'm like, I got to take care of this.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And then, so, I guess before we wrapped up, like you mentioned, you mentioned guys.
Yes.
And you said guys give you the ick when they say I can't be vegan.
Yeah.
But so, like, everything is, I don't know. America is just very right wing right now.
Yeah.
Culturally, it's very right wing.
Yeah.
So, are there any cool guys who don't? I don't know. Like, why doesn't Beyond Meat or impossible have like influencers, or are there any, or like should I do it? Should I be like a
Beyond influencer?
Should I be like a vegan influencer? Like, how do you sell it to people where it's like cool, I guess? I don't know. Or is that even a valid question? Because I think people, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it is cool. I'm already sold that it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess, I don't know, with like, I don't know. I don't actually understand the question.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like, is there any branding, I guess back to the beginning, like is there any branding or any potential to like change the perception of it?
No, I think like people are always going to, like with the word vegan, I guess like the negative connotation of being vegan, I don't know that you can do anything about it. Like I think any type of social justice movement like is gonna have some kind of negative branding on it. Even like feminists or whatever, like something like that. Like the word has
Palestine.
Palestine, like free Palestine or whatever. Like even like Black Lives Matter, like any kind of opposing people are gonna put a negative branding on it and make it seem like, oh, like it's the kind of the fault of the movement. Not to say that veganism is a perfect movement, like any, of them, but they're gonna kind of put this negative thing on it. And I don't know that there's much to do about it, because if you rebrand it, they're just gonna say negative things about the rebrand. Like I just hope people do kind of come to understand, which I do feel like people are more and more, that it is like a nonviolent movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you're against factory farming or you're like against cruelty to animals, like you probably have more in common with vegans than you think you do.
Yeah. And just, I think people not seeing the violence is a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm very pro people seeing violence. I'm realizing.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you got to see it. Like I know plenty of people, they saw Dominion or Earthlings or those ones that are specifically about like slaughterhouses. They never ate meat again.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to see it. I've never watched any of those. I don't need to. I'm not. I watched Cowspiracy.
I just wish there were like Joaquin Phoenix when he did the his Oscar speech.
Yeah.
But I just wish there were more like cool vegans, I guess.
I feel like also a lot of celebrities get really quiet about it. Like they don't talk about being vegan.
Right.
Like there's a lot of
Eric Adams is a vegan.
Eric Adams, kind of. He eats fish sometimes.
Oh, he does?
He lies about it. I think like
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I trusted him.
He's more like plant-based for his health.
Okay.
Than vegan.
Okay.
But I know Ariana Grande is vegan.
Okay.
There's a lot more Woody Harrelson's been vegan for like 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's a lot more vegan celebrities than you'd think.
Okay.
I think they just end up quiet about it. But I do think people are making more space now for that. Even like the hate and things I get on a lot of my vegan things are very different now than when I first started. Like I think it was still like quite a new concept.
Okay.
Over time. And even over time, like my family, they used to ask a lot of questions or like you poke fun at me years ago. And now like they really like it. And we do like a vegan.
And you're like, you guys are eating turkey with literal semen in it.
Yeah.
So who's the weirdo
Who's the weirdo
now? Yeah. Great. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Do you have any final thoughts, or is there anything else you wanna touch on?
If you want to come on a group trip, come on one of my group trips. They're really fun.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of good vegan food on them.
And follow Anna on TikTok, Instagram, Anything But Animals.
Anything But Animals, and join my email list because we do fundraisers for Palestine. Sometimes we did one this year in May in New York City, and we're going to do one next year in Mexico City. And that's the best place to find out about group trips, on the email list.
We're a very pro-Palestine show.
Yay.
I have a flag in my bag, but there's nowhere to hang it
saw
up.
it on the last episode.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I should have worn my keffiyeh.
Yeah, I have one that I got from Amazon. I don't know
Next year, we're doing a group trip to Jordan, and we're collaborating with a local Palestinian family.
Nice.
They're going to like show us around.
Nice. And you went there already?
I went there to scout specifically for this group trip. So we're taking people next year. It's going to be a smaller group.
Nice.
But it's going to be really fun.
Nice.
And I got to visit a little Palestinian olive oil farm.
Great.
Olive farm.
Well, thanks again so much. If you're getting chest pains like me, maybe consider a more plant-based lifestyle. Your health is very important, and being anti-violence is cool. And if you're a single guy, just remember, girls get the ick when you say that you can't. So why don't you show some discipline? If you want a girlfriend, stop complaining, have some discipline, cut the animal products out of your diet, and maybe you'll get yourself a girlfriend. Thanks again for joining us. Patreon.com/outforsmokes. We'll see you guys either on Sunday or next week. Bye-bye.